Okay friends, think for a second. If you voted in 2012, did you vote for Obama and Biden together or separate? Or if you're Republican, did you vote for Romney and Paul Ryan together as two separate entities? Could we, for example, elect Barack Obama and Paul Ryan together, or Mitt Romney and Joe Biden together, or Obama, Jon Stewart, or however we please? The answer is together. So if you voted in 2012, your ballot probably looked a little bit like this, with Barack Obama and Joe Biden together as one single entity. The president chooses his vice presidential candidate so that, obviously, should he win, he has the ability to work with someone that he's comfortable with, that he knows, and hopefully that he likes. Okay, so if the president chooses his running mate, then how was it in the 1796 election we had John Adams, a Federalist, paired with Thomas Jefferson, a Democratic Republican? They didn't run together. Adams didn't choose Jefferson. In fact, they didn't like each other at all. So how did they get paired together? The answer lies in the 12th Amendment to the Constitution, which was ratified in 1804. Before the 12th Amendment to the Constitution, the election of the president and vice president worked a little bit differently than what we're accustomed to today. Before this time, the election of the president and vice president was dictated by Article 2 of the Constitution. Remember that in the United States, we don't directly elect the president and vice president. It's done by indirect electors who, in theory, vote on our behalf, state by state, based on the popular vote. The winner of the majority of electoral votes becomes president. If it sounds confusing, it gets crazier. Prior to 1804, electors cast two ballots. Both ballots were for president, so the winner of the most votes of electors became president. The second runner-up became vice president. So basically, prior to 1804, the president received the most electoral votes, and the vice president was simply a concession prize for the loser. So this exact problem showed its head in the 1796 election, created an awkward situation for Adams and Jefferson. Through some electoral voting manipulation, Adams ended up with 71 electoral votes, and Jefferson with, I think, 68 or 69. Thereby, Jefferson became the vice president of John Adams, even though both of them were not friends in the slightest. The situation became even more far-fetched and ridiculous in the election of 1800, where Jefferson triumphed over Aaron Burr, a member of the same party, but at first they received the same number of electoral votes, 73, and so the House of Representatives had to decide the election between the two of them. It was a mess. So after all this madness, Congress decided that it was time for a change and proposed the 12th Amendment, which would go on to be ratified by the states. Okay, so under this amendment, electors cast two separate votes, one for president and one for vice president. No longer was it two indistinguishable votes together, both for president. It's important to remember that electors are technically independent. They don't necessarily have to follow the will of the people. So it could be still that we get some sort of mishmashed Democrat, Republican, president, and vice presidential pick, but it's not very likely. In general, this fix has functioned as intended. And so now we have the modern political presidential tickets that we all know so well, where the presidential candidate and his party select a vice presidential candidate. They vet and they choose someone that they know the president can work with. I've left out a few of the details here, so definitely check out the description below for more about the origins of the 12th Amendment and our current presidential vice presidential system. A bit of bonus information for you. John C. Calhoun served under two different presidents as vice president, first under John Quincy Adams and then under Andrew Jackson. He was technically political rivals to both of these men, and he definitely managed to piss both of them off. He was a little bit of a troll. I should do a video of him as a 19th century troll very soon. And second, Abraham Lincoln's second vice presidential pick was Andrew Johnson, a Unionist Democrat. The idea was to create unity during the Civil War. They were intentionally two people of different parties running together on the same ticket. To the best of my knowledge, the only time that this has happened since the 12th Amendment passed.